Hey, as we continue along here this week in Luke chapter 4, we come across verses 25 and 26. And the overarching theme of this section of Luke's gospel is the fact that Jesus came for everyone, not just a select group of people. We touched on that a little bit a few weeks ago. I remember in one of the past messages talking about that. But what's going to happen now is Jesus is going to start citing some examples, actually two of them, from different Old Testament accounts that this group would have been very familiar with, just to kind of illustrate the fact that he didn't just come for them. And I'm going to dig into that first one today. Like I said, Luke chapter 4, 25, 26 jumps back to this Old Testament account talking about Elijah and a widow. I think once we dig into it, a lot of you will be familiar with this account because it's a pretty mainstream one we hear about a lot. You see, Elijah back in the day was actually depending on God and leaning on God to support him in this time of drought and subsequent famine. And God had taken him down by a river, and ravens were taking care of him, bringing him food to eat. And he would drink out of this river. Well, eventually, after a few years, the river went dry. So Elijah is like gonna need water, obviously, to drink in a time of drought and famine. So God tells him to go and seek out this certain widow. So he goes there and he finds her, and this woman says to him that she's only got enough flour to feed her and her son one last time, and then they're going to die. She just seems very hopeless, matter of fact about it, I guess you'd say. And Elijah says, hey, give me make one more batch and give me some to sustain me. And what ends up happening is the flour never runs out. As long as they're there, the flour, the oil, they have enough to make bread, make sustenance this whole time. And where I'm going with this whole deal this week is obedience. It's just Elijah went out here being obedient to God. God said, I'll take care of you. Just go where I send you. And then when things started to get rough there, again, God took care of Elijah, and Elijah was obedient and went to where God sent him to this widow. And the widow, in turn, was obedient to what Elijah asked her to do, and she brought her little, and God turned it into a lot. And that's what I really want to, impress upon us this weekend, is that when we give God our little in obedience, He will always turn around and turn it into a lot. It may not look like what we think it'll look like, but everything always goes farther than we think. And God is just wanting us to give up to Him in trust, in faith, that He might do something with the little we have. And I think this applies with so many different things. I mean, here we're talking about food, but in our lives that could look like hope. If I give my little hope to God, He's going to give me a much bigger and stronger hope for the future. If I give my little bit of faith with God, I mean, a lot of times we beat ourselves up about, man, I don't know if I believe enough. But if I give Him my little bit of faith, He's going to grow that and give me bigger faith and bigger trust. Because, I mean, as we know, we've heard in the Bible many times, if we can trust God with our little, He's going to do great things with it. And so I guess this week, I just want to say, are we being obedient to what God is calling us to do? Last time I was at the track, I want to give a shout out to somebody in our IndyCar ministry community. His name's Josh, and he lives out in Iowa. And I talked with him, and he's actually taken a big step of obedience or faith and packing his family up and moving to Bloomington, Illinois this next week just to start a church. He felt God calling him to do that. So he's going with a group of people. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, when I heard it, I was kind of shocked. It's kind of out of his comfort zone, all that kind of stuff. But yet he's just taken that step of faith. So I just want to challenge all of us to just not get content where we are and listen to what God's calling us to do and take that big step of obedience. Because going back to Luke, Jesus came for all of us, and Jesus came to make changes in all of our lives. Not only a widow that lived thousands of years ago, but you and me here today. And just by taking that step of obedience, maybe a little one, giving God the little bit of trust we have, the little bit of faith we have, He is going to do big and amazing things in our life. We will catch you next week on Wednesday Wisdom.